the box. We've all heard that expression, and I think, have a pretty good idea what that means. Don't let yourself be boxed in by perceived limitations or the predictability of the routines of your life or the way things have always been done in the past. Don't let yourself be limited to what you've experienced. Be willing to think new thoughts or try new things. Think outside the box. But it's one thing to think outside the box, and it's another thing to live outside the box. And sometimes we allow ourselves to be boxed in by things like the fear of failure. And last week we asked this question: what would you do in following Jesus if you weren't afraid of failing? And today we're asking this question: what would you do in following Jesus if it wasn't inconvenient? You see, we all have a box that we typically live in. It's that place that's known to us and comfortable to us. And unfortunately, in Western culture, we spend a lot of time and energy making our box not only convenient, but secure. We do things that make it more comfortable for us. And we have our comfy little pillow, and we get our little security blankets going that make us feel like life's under control and life is safe and our world is under control and our little world is safe. And then we have this addiction to convenience. It started decades ago with things like fast food. But make no mistake about it, it's evolved. This morning, I went to McDonald's and I got me an Egg McMuffin. I treated my wife to one too for Mother's Day. Wasn't that big of me? Yeah, well done. Well, you don't lie very well, but thank you. And as I was waiting for the food at the drive-up, I was really taken aback by the little sticker on the window. Uber Eats is now in partnership with McDonald's. See, it's not enough just to have fast food. Now I want to have fast food delivered to my house. And that's what Uber Eats does, for those of you that are not like up with the times, right? They'll bring it to your house. You order it on the app and they bring it to your house, knock on the door, here's your McDonald's. Uber now is experimenting with Uber Taxi. I don't know if you caught that in the news. We're addicted to making our lives convenient and comfortable and secure. And in the process, unfortunately, many times we kill the courage that would otherwise define and drive our lives. We're going to talk about it today. Inconvenience. It's a courage killer. See, I don't think kids, when they're young and learning about the world around them and wanting to try new things and experiment with new things and attempt new things and try to achieve new things and develop new skills, I don't think they're saying to themselves, gosh, I wish my life were more convenient and I was more comfortable and secure. No, they're thinking, I wish my mom and dad would let me learn that and try that and do that. And sometimes even without our permission, that's exactly what they do. Like, I see my mom open the refrigerator all the time and she gets the eggs out to make us breakfast. I'm going to try that. And they open the refrigerator door and pretty soon the eggs are all over the floor. And for them, what's that? They're living the dream. Of course, mom walks in and now she's living the nightmare, right? And then the kid wants to learn to ride a bike and then later drive the car and then later go on and, experience what life has to offer. So how is it somewhere along the way, so often, we allow that courageous approach to living, that I want all that life has to offer, I want to live life to the full. How is it that we let our appetite for comfort and security and convenience get in the way? Well, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to learn not only that God wants us to think outside the box, but He wants us to live outside the box. Now, for many of us, the idea that we would perhaps be addicted to creature comforts, modern conveniences, is not something we're necessarily all that honest with ourselves about. And before I go any further, let me just say this. I'm not against creature comforts. I love my heated seats in the winter in my truck, right? I love being able to turn that on and, warm the seat of my truck so that as I'm driving down the road, I've got that comfort. And I love that I can program my coffee maker to come on by itself in the morning. And I love the fact that I have a remote for just about everything in the world. Have you noticed? There's a remote for everything. Someday, kids will come with a remote. And moms will celebrate the day. On, off, pause, volume down. Won't it be wonderful? I remember when our kids were really little, my wife and I, we were really poor, but we were buying our first color television. And, actually it was our first TV at all, because somebody had given us a black and white, and that's all we had the first few years of our marriage. And so this is a big day for us. And they said, do you want it with a remote or not? It was an option. And if you wanted the remote, it was $100 more. Yeah, well, that was back in those days, right? And so I said to Cindy, and we both chuckle about this now, I said to her, there's no way I'm paying $100 for a remote. We have 3 kids. They can change the channel. Kids, is it convenient to have kids? No. If it was convenient to have kids, more people would have more kids, but there's nothing about having kids that's convenient until they can grow up and change the channel or take out the trash or mow the grass. I suppose that part's convenient, but kids are a disruption. Kids are inconvenient. And yet kids are great and wonderful, and we still want to have kids. Why? Because having kids is a good thing. But it's not ever a convenient thing. And there are a lot of other things in life that are not convenient, but they're really good, worthwhile, necessary, purposeful kinds of things. And we need to be careful to be honest with ourselves and think through whether or not conveniences, modern conveniences, creature comforts, my own personal security, if those things are getting in the way of me being able to live life like God intended, if they're getting in the way of me being able to follow Jesus fully. You say, well, how would I know? Well, we say things like this: it's not a good time for me. Oh, I didn't turn it on. It's not a good time for me to refer to the TV because it's not even on. It's not a good time for me, the TV will soon say. But you see it up there. In other words, I've got other stuff going on. Well, when is it ever a good time? See, I think sometimes when we say, it's not a good time for me, what we're really saying is, I've kind of got my own idea how things should be, and I just don't want to rock that boat. I don't want to disrupt my plan. I've got a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, or I've got a plan for the next 5 minutes, and it does not include any disruptions, right? I mean, we have an idea of how things should be and how they should go, so we say, it's not a good time for me. So, sometimes we say that when we think, well, I'm in the season of my life when this thing that would be a courageous step that I might take it's not a good time for me to do that. Or we'll say sometimes, and this is the more spiritual one, this is the religious and spiritually sounding statement, I'm not feeling led that way. Now, some of you who are newer to all this, you're like, I don't get that one. But those of us that have followed Christ for a little while have heard this many times and probably said it ourselves. I'm not just feeling led to, and it could be most anything. Now, again, please don't misunderstand. Sometimes it's true. It's not a good time. I get that. Sometimes it's true. We're really not being led. Like, that's not something Jesus wants us to do. I get it. But if we're honest with ourselves, sometimes we'll say this or this, and in reality, we're just using that as a way to kind of deflect the fact that it feels inconvenient to us inside. Or we'll say, well, my plate is already pretty full. Or, this is one of my favorites, I can't afford it right now. And I don't just mean financially. I can't afford to take the time or make the investment or focus on that. I've got other things that are sucking up my financial resources, the resource of my time, the resource of my energy, or whatever it is. Now, all of these statements can be true and be absolutely right. I get that. And this is sort of tricky for us to go here. But at other times, these become nothing more than excuses to keep us from taking a courageous step. A way to kind of mask the fact that inside, either we're afraid of failing. We talked about that last week. And by the way, if you missed last week's message, It was a good message if I don't say so myself. Check it out on our website or on our app. You'll be glad you did. Or for some of us, sometimes what this is just a way to say, it's not convenient right now to do whatever it is that's in front of me to do. You say, well, what kinds of things? What are we talking about? Well, maybe it's just a phone call you need to make to mend a fence in a relationship, or reach out to a person that's been on your heart, or have a conversation that's an uncomfortable conversation with someone you care about, and you should have that conversation, but you've been avoiding it, and you might just say to yourself, it's not a good time for me. I'll call them later. I'll take that step later. I'll have that conversation later. Or my plate's pretty full, or I can't afford the emotional investment that it's going to require of me to take that step. It might be small group involvement. Here at Mary Chapel, we're winding up our group season, and we're looking forward already to the fall, and we're looking for people who are willing to step up and host small groups in their home, community groups, and people that are willing to lead those groups. And for some of you, that's something that Jesus has been prompting you. He's been nudging you. You've been kind of, toying with the idea, maybe even ignoring him at times, maybe saying one of these things about that. And Jesus is just saying, listen, if you'll trust me and take the courageous step, you'll be glad you did. I've got some things in store for you. One of our partnerships here at Mary Chapel is with the Think Small organization. We have referenced it a few times, including a few weeks ago. We talked a little bit about what they have been doing for many, many years. They started in Thailand and then have branched out, not only reaching Thailand and other parts of Southeast Asia, but now they're going to other places around the world. And the couple that started it are Gary and Paula Hayes. And I had the privilege of meeting them and sitting down with them on more than one occasion. And they've shared with me their story. They were a couple living in the east side of the Seattle area, had a very comfortable lifestyle. No children, both of them were employed, very substantial incomes, had just bought a new house, going to a church there. They were living a great life inside of a box of security and comfort. Not that it was a bad box, but their life was very predictable. It was a good life. They were blessed, and they knew it. And then they decided they wanted to take a vacation, and so they went to Thailand. Like a lot of people who can afford to do that, they do that. They go to Thailand for a vacation, and while they were there, God spoke to both of them, but neither one of them admitted it to the other, and they didn't talk about it. And they came back from that vacation, and it was a matter of weeks, maybe even months, before they actually got honest with each other and talked about it. And one said to the other, we need to have a conversation. Yeah, I know. About the trip. Yep, I know. Well, God spoke. Yeah, he spoke to me. They both had been told by the Lord, just very clearly, while they were there, that they were supposed to go there as full-time missionaries. So they sold their house that they just bought. They quit their jobs, which were great jobs, and they were blessed to have those. And they packed up everything that they needed, and off to Thailand they went. And they were there 2 or 3 years before God began to speak to them about their approach. They were networking and focusing on adults, and God said to them, think small. In other words, think children. They began to focus on children and develop some programs that were well received by local churches and then in the public schools. And as a result of these programs designed to help kids avoid human trafficking and to stay out of the drug world, which is so very prevalent in Southeast Asia, both of those things, the reception was so great and so widespread. And in the process, they were presenting Jesus all along the way, that ministry in the last decade or so has seen 130,000 decisions for Christ from young people, with somewhere approaching 80% of those being followed up by local churches and brought into some kind of discipleship pathway. It's an amazing thing, and it's a wonderful thing, and we're privileged to partner with them. We're making a difference now in India and in Central Africa and now moving into Latin America. And all of that happened because a couple of people were willing to say, I'm going to be courageous. I'm going to not allow my excuses to keep me from doing something that's not convenient at all. I'm going to live out. I'm going to step way outside of my comfort zone, and I'm going to follow Jesus. And it takes courage to follow Jesus. Now, some of you may be listening to that and saying, oh man, if that's what you're talking about, I want to run for the exit, because that's my biggest fear. I don't want to pack everything up and go somewhere else in the world. I don't want Jesus to call me to that. In most cases, that's not what he calls us to. Sometimes he just calls us to go across the room and take a courageous step. Or like in some cases, to show up at a group or show up at a midweek ministry, or to speak up in our work environment, or to reach out, or to do something that is for us just as courageous a step as it was for Gary and Paula to pack everything up and move to Thailand. Well, before I go any further, it's Mother's Day, right? And we believe in having fun here at Maryview Chapel, and so, hey, let's just pause and have some fun. Pastor Sue, one of our kids' pastors, let's give her a warm welcome as she comes to the platform.
Well, hello and happy Mother's Day. So excited to be here with you this morning. And I am a kids pastor, and we only do fun. So I thought, hey, let's do some fun. Let's give some prizes away. Hopefully on the way in, moms, you got your bath bomb and your chocolate. If you didn't, the table will be out again after service, so grab that. But we're going to give 3 gift cards away, and I like to do it kind of fun. So I'm going to do game show style. All right, so listen up. So let's do 29 and under. If you're a mom, 29 and under, grab your purse or your pockets, whatever you got. I'm going to give this Old Navy $25 to the first person that can bring me something that is their kids' stuff in their purse that you're carrying around. Be quick, people. Be quick, be quick. Somebody 29 under. You should be looking. Oh man, here comes one. What do you got? What do you got? A binky. This is a young mama. There you go. You're welcome. All right. Well, let's keep it going. So 30 and older moms, I'm one of those, 30 and older moms, we like to take care of our families. And so we're always carrying stuff around. I mean, we just are. So for the first person that can bring me their stash of Kleenex, and no, not the box next to you. No, not the box next to you. Your stash of Kleenex. Bring it, bring it, bring it as fast as you can. Anybody? Anybody? Oh, she's got it. She's got it. Nice. Good job. Good job. There you go. All right. I always have a wad of Kleenex because, you never know. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is I want to honor the mom who's been doing this the longest. So if you have children or a child over 50, would you stand up? If you have a child over 50, anybody? Yes, we got a couple. Okay. So how about over 55? Sit down if your children